Brace yourself for a shocking showdown as Labour's own MPs brutally turn against Keir Starmer in what's being called the biggest rebellion of his career. Over 100 Labour MPs are slamming the Prime Minister's welfare cuts, calling them disgusting and heartless. In a move that could end it all for Starmer's leadership, he faces a tidal wave of dissent live on air. Will he survive this political nonsense, or are we about to witness a scandal that rocks Westminster to its core? Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications to stay updated.
Starmer is facing yet another headache as he faces a mega rebellion of over 100 of his own Labour MPs over welfare and benefits cuts. But the PM has insisted that hard, honest choices are needed to fix the welfare system. Well, the Prime Minister is currently in the Netherlands for a NATO summit at The Hague, and he spoke to GB News' political correspondent Catherine Fawcett earlier today about this and defence spending commitments.
Prime Minister, hugely concerning times. You've announced a massive increase in defence and security spending to 5% because, let's face it, of Donald Trump. Will you level with GB News viewers on the tough choices you're going to have to make? Because how on earth are you going to pay for it? You're going to have to put up taxes, surely, or make quite deep cuts.
Let me first of all reassure your viewers that the first duty of the UK Prime Minister is the safety and security of our citizens, and that's a duty I take extremely seriously. We've already increased our defence spend to 2.5% in 2027, and I've been absolutely clear where the money for that comes from. We've cut the overseas development aid budget. And we will now make commitments, our NATO commitments, to 5%. That includes a resilience element that we're already spending, but it is important that we make that commitment for the long-term security of our country. We had a commitment, to reassure your viewers, in our manifesto that we wouldn't raise taxes on working people, and we intend to keep to that commitment.
And also on welfare.
Leaves people trapped and not able to get into work, and so we need to reform it, and that's what we will do.
Well, that was the Prime Minister at The Hague, and I'm joined in Westminster by GB News reporter Adam Cherry. Adam, there seems to be a pattern to Sir Keir Starmer. 26 trips now abroad since being elected, but whenever he's away, he wants the headlines to be about the event he's at, and nobody really seems to be in listening mode. Now we're back to Britain, back to another crisis, this time a huge rebellion, 108 MPs rebelling over benefits.
And it seemed going up in the last couple of hours, despite this ring around from the Cabinet to try and persuade these backbenchers otherwise. It looks like it's now almost north of 120, according to some reports. So it's going up, not going down. Now, I suppose Downing Street will say, look, we need to be at this NATO summit. It's NATO. There's serious issues internationally, and the President of the United States is there, and we need to shore up our position. Well, OK, but as you said, this is now his 26th foreign trip, and these seem to keep happening, sometimes coincidentally, fine, but they keep happening when there's serious issues at home, and they don't seem to have a good answer here, right? If the numbers are going up, well, what on earth are they going to do about it? The reason they're going up is, I mean, there are a couple of reasons. One, it's like I said in the last hour, Martin, the winter fuel cut was the original sin here. The damage was done. The U-turn did nothing for them in the eyes of the public. So you could argue they should have just kept with it, because the consequence of U-turning now is they gain nothing from the public, but they prove to their own MPs that they can be persuaded out of it. They can U-turn, they can back down. And if you're an MP sitting on a very slim majority, you know, why on earth would you think otherwise? There's too many of you to be promoted. You're thinking, hang on, there's 160 odd of us. I'm never going to make it to Cabinet. So discipline is waning.
So let's look at the optics, the numbers. Yeah. So for this to fall, for Labour to lose, 78 of their own MPs need to vote it down. You said there's 120 at the moment, but that would necessitate every single opposing MP, including the Conservatives and the Reform Party, voting against it. Would that look bad for them? I mean, they'd be basically saying, hey, we should be giving more benefits away. That's not the position of Reform or the Conservative Party. Or will they just go for the throat and try and cause damage to Keir Starmer?
I mean, I suspect that's why we don't know what their position is yet, because they're figuring out what's the most politically savvy thing to do. Because you're right, on the one hand, ideologically, it doesn't really make sense if you're saying the welfare bill is far, far too big, and then you say, actually, you know, this bill to cut the welfare spending isn't the right one. So the way you do it as you say, I suppose,
as the Prime Minister returns from The Hague. Adam Cherry, excellent as ever. Thank you. Catherine, welcome to the show. We were just saying throughout the beginning of this show, Keir Starmer is 26th foreign jaunt. But back here in Britain, it's all about the benefits rebellion and the domestic crises facing the Labour Party.
Yes, he's got trouble at home and trouble abroad. It's the NATO summit. Of course he would be here. 32 NATO members in this huge announcement because, let's face it, it is all about Donald Trump. Donald Trump has made it very clear that NATO members need to spend 5% on defence. So today, the announcement that we will up our defence spending to 5% in total, but it's made up of sort of 3.5% on defence directly by 10 years' time, and another 1.5% sort of defence adjacent. So things like infrastructure, things like our border security commands that we're trying to smash the gangs. Of course. Donald Trump hasn't even arrived yet. He was on Air Force One a little bit earlier. We know he's very cross with Israel, very cross with Iran. And he was asked about NATO's Article 5 and if he would always abide by it. That's the rule that basically says an attack on one is an attack on all. And he said, depends on your definition. And then he said, I'm committed to being their friends. I've become friends with many of these leaders and I'm committed to helping them. But it's the bottom line is Donald Trump is so unpredictable. We simply do not know here in Europe whether he has our back or not. Hence the huge rise in defence spending. Now, I asked the Prime Minister.
It was in our manifesto that we wouldn't raise taxes on working people, and we intend to keep to that commitment.
And also on welfare, you've got over 100 Labour MPs now demanding you change course over the cuts to the welfare budget. They're concerned that the government doesn't look like it cares about the most vulnerable people. Are you going to change course? What's your message to them?
The principles I brought to this are that those that need protection must have protection and support. Those that can work should work and should be helped into work. But we must have a welfare system fit for the future. And the current model doesn't work. It desperately needs reform. It leaves people trapped and not able to get into work. And so we need to reform it. And that's what we will do.
So the Prime Minister clear that he is not going to change course, he says, on welfare cuts despite this looming enormous rebellion. Also trying to reassure GB News viewers, saying he's not going to put up taxes on working people. That was a manifesto